All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Poverty Franchise Podcast. Today I think we're going to do a poverty index roundup, so to speak, even though it's only going to be about 3 sports. The NFL season will be kicking off here shortly. I'll probably be doing weekly recaps on that in their own individual episodes until the other seasons really start up. I would just like to discuss a couple of the other things that happened in the sports world, mainly college football week 1, which has been fun. It's been great. Also, Sprite, stay refreshed. LeBron and Drake. We stop. But it's been insane. I think game of the week, LSU, Florida State, LSU losing on the block extra point. Brian Kelly being the only SEC coach and then the team to lose this weekend. To be fair, most of them were playing cupcakes, so it is what it is on that front. Every other team in the SEC does handle business pretty well. Other notable games would be Georgia might still be that good by absolutely clowning on Oregon. Ohio State beating Notre Dame pretty well. And then Iowa only scoring like 7 points on South Dakota State. And then the last one I'll talk about, since Tiger Town Tavern, Clemson grad, you know how it is, would be the Clemson Georgia Tech game. I think the Clemson defense, bar Alabama, who had a 55-point shutout on Utah State. Utah State's still an FBS school, so they're not the greatest one, but hey, 55-point shutout is a 55-point shutout. And what Georgia did to Oregon, I think their defenses are probably better pound for pound than Clemson's. I think Clemson has a better D-line than the two, but that's because Georgia graduated everyone, or to the draft or graduated. I still think Clemson's probably a top 3 defense. They're probably 3rd in the country. The offense, the run game is shaky. And DJ still doesn't look like a championship level quarterback. The defense is championship caliber. But they're not going to be able to... They scored 41 points on Georgia Tech. Because Georgia Tech's back... I think their linebacking core and their defensive backs are weak. Their D-line actually looked pretty okay. And their offense was miserable, so the defense got a lot of rest. The Oregon's better teams with more structured offenses that are going to push your defense closer to that conditioning break point. Teams like NC State, teams like Miami, teams like Pitt, teams like UNC. And then let's say you get to the AC Championship or the playoff, teams like Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, stuff like that. Oh, another notable game. Oregon State might be the second best team in the Pac-12 behind USC. My hot take of the afternoon. But on from college football, one I really wanted to quickly talk about was the Donovan Mitchell trade. I'm a bit late to it, and the trade basically goes: the Jazz traded Donovan Mitchell for Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, Ochai Agbaji, and 3 unprotected firsts and 2 pick swaps. That's a massive haul for one player. And the Jazz re-signed Colin Sexton to a 3-year extension, if I'm not mistaken, so he's there, and they're not moving him. I think for the Cavs, Colin Sexton wasn't the right fit alongside Darius Garland. However, I think they lose out on Colin Sexton's defensive versatility in the backcourt. And their backcourt's really small with Garland and Mitchell. They're both great players, and their offense is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the East. And the Eastern Conference in the NBA is going to be fucking nuts. Because I think you have 6 teams that can get to the title if health stays there. I think you have the Bucks, the Celtics, even though Gallinari is out for the year, he tore his ACL, are the fastest he'll be able to come back, and this is, if everything goes right, would probably be the conference finals. So he's out for the year, which is a pretty important depth piece they added, basically to be scoring for when Horford needs to sit. I don't think it hurts their title. I don't think it derails the title hopes or anything like that. But you have the Bucks, the Celtics, the Sixers, the Nets are still playing around there, the Bulls, the Cavs, the Heat. That's 7, by the way. Then you have some of your bubble teams like the Hornets, the Raptors. Am I out of teams? Definitely forgetting one. I always forget one. It's not the fuck not the Knicks. I don't give a shit. The Knicks ain't making no fucking playoffs. But it's gonna be a very interesting time in the NBA East. I think the Jazz make out pretty good in this. They have a lot of picks. They got rid of Gobert. I'm not like clowning on them. The Jazz are young. They're in the tankathon now. They'll be vying with the They're gonna be vying with the OKC Thunder for that number 1 overall pick. But I think the only issue with that Cavs team is that backcourt defense is not good. And I have a philosophy with NBA teams, and I basically modeled it after why the Trailblazers did not come anywhere, did not sniff an NBA title through all this time, and teams like the Warriors and Cavs could. It's because almost every championship team to ever play in the NBA did not have 2 defensive liabilities, and both their point guard and their shooting guard were not defensive liabilities. One could be. Like, Steph's on-ball defense is not that great, but he has Klay Thompson playing next to him. They can rotate Gary Payton next to him. They had Harrison Barnes, they had Draymond Green, they have good, but mainly the backcourt pairing, at least one of the 2 people have to be good at defense. They just have to be. Kyrie's on-ball defense is not that great because he doesn't feel like trying to do it half the time. He had J.R. Smith next to him who would go hustle around and play defense, and actually played good defense. Plus they can play big, and they can play LeBron. They could play LeBron at the 2 if they felt like it, or at the 1 effectively. But that is the main crux of my point. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum were not good defenders. And it left their inside massively exposed. Thankfully, the Cavs at every other position are fucking stacked at defense. I mean, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro. These are all plus defenders. And plus, the team is really deep too. I mean, you're gonna have dudes coming off the bench. Like Kevin Love's leading the bench unit. Isaac Okoro is probably gonna be coming off the bench. C.D. Osman, Rubio's gonna be coming back. Rondo's still there. You have good. There's just a good fucking team. They have a chance to finish top 3 in the East. But when it comes down to it, I think the team will be successful. I just don't think defensively they have the juice to make the finals. I could be wrong. I think if Mitchell's just a little small, but they put in enough effort and J.B. Bickerstaff can scheme around it. Junior, that is, who's a good coach, by the way. I'm finally glad he's finally got his first true good team to work with. So he's been a tank commander a few years in the league. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes out for the Cavs. I think they're the most interesting team in basketball right now in terms of and also biggest losers, Knicks. Even though I said the Knicks shouldn't do the trade, they still come out the biggest fucking losers in this because holy fucking shit, y'all did all that money for Jalen Brunson. And that you're riding with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. And I mean, the RJ Barrett extension, I like it because they had no other option. But y'all winning shit in the East. You'll be lucky if you make the play-in. You'll be lucky if y'all make the play-in. So, good luck. James Dolan's still the owner. Sucks to be y'all. And it's going to be a shorter episode, I think, because the only other thing I really want to discuss is, I would only like to discuss, I want to discuss the Aubameyang trade. Trade, holy shit. I'm stuck in American sports. The Aubameyang business, Chelsea panic bought because they had no attack. Their attack is kind of ass. So they panic bought a 33-year-old striker, and I hope it works out for him. I don't think it will. And they didn't really have any other options, though. Michi was not going to really come back and play. He's over to Fenerbahce. At least they moved Ross Barkley on the free, so they don't have to have his contract anymore. They moved Marcus Alonso to Barcelona. I think that was a good move as well. I'm also glad Marcelo is going to have his retirement tour in Greece for Olympiacos. Should help them out in the Super League over there. But man, no. Yeah, Hector Bellerin going to Barca as well as Andre Gomez going to Lille. And the last business I think I'd like to discuss today would be Diego Costa maybe going to Wolves. I think having two similarly styled strikers in Raul and Diego Raul is just less angry Diego Costa is a good idea. Only because you need the depth and Wolves need to survive this year. Because that's the name of the game for the Prem is survival. Oh yeah, those are the other two moves. Arthur at Liverpool, that helps their midfield needs in the time being. Because Henderson's looking kind of. Milner should not be starting games. He's great off the bench when you want to hold a result. And Henderson is, I don't know what Henderson's doing, but it's not looking too hot. And Thiago is hurt, so they need the support. And then John Brooks gets out of not Wolverhampton. Holy shit, Wolfsburg. There it is. And goes to Benfica. I hope him the best because we're going to need him in the World Cup. Team USA. But at the end of the day, the transfer window is finally shut. I mean, there's rumors that Milan Pjanic might go to the UAE. Good. Barcelona needs to shed the salary anyway. And it's really up to the gods. Champions League football starting today. So I'll probably also have updates on that in a separate episode, separate from the NFL Roundup. That will be probably on Tuesday. You know, I'm competing right with urinating trees, so I can't do it that well. And it's going to be very focused on the teams I like and probably some of the highlights and lowlights of the week from certain teams and certain players. But yeah, the Roundup, this short episode of the Poverty Index. Donovan Mitchell trade, I should give a final grade to it. Solid B. I'll give it a B. Probably even an A minus. I think the Cavs are a better team with it. So I think that's how you win a trade. The Jazz also win it because they have a mountain of first round picks. They're gonna be like the Thunder. And then I guess I'll grade the Aubameyang business. I'll say it's like a C. I mean they have no other option on the attack. This is why you don't let Tammy Abraham go. If you had Tammy Abraham, you wouldn't be in this position. Y'all wouldn't be in this position. Y'all chose Lukaku instead. That was a no-brainer at the time. I can't even fucking blame y'all. But it's a panic buy. You hope he stays healthy. You hope he fixes the problem. And you hope he can get into the Champions League and get into Europe. It's been PJ. It's been real on the Poverty Franchise Podcast. Signing out for the end of the day.